But there is an anger toward women when they don't give attention, a sexual experience, love, admiration, a conversation to an absolute stranger. And there can be deadly consequences for it. And that's not her fault, but this is what happens. That kid that shot up the University of Santa Barbara a couple years ago, I know, it is hard to keep them straight, America, but this one was different.
It is happening a lot,
because this kid
right?
wrote a whole manifesto about how women don't pay attention to him and don't sleep with him, and this is what they deserve. That guy that shot up that Asian strip mall in Atlanta, he had a whole interview about how women don't sleep with him, and he's alone, and this is what they deserve. Gentlemen, if you are not having sex, and we're not talking a dry spell, we're not talking you're a little shy. We are talking if you don't have sex and the narrative of your life is that you are not having sex because women are bitches, women are whores, you're a nice guy and you deserve better. That is nature's way of saying you should not be having sex, for you failed to adapt and evolve, and there should be no more of your kind.
If you can still support this man and think he does not have negative viewpoints about women by the end of this video, then I don't know what to tell you, quite honestly, because this is from Dr. K's own channel. He picked this video to react to. That's Eliza Schlesinger, and it's her comedy special, and it was one of the most poignant things I've seen her do. And when I saw that he was reacting to it, I took a sigh of relief, because prior to this, in the hours of videos I've watched with this man, he almost never, if ever, acknowledges the deep hatred that incels have for women. How that hatred leads to violence. But here, Eliza points it out. She talks specifically about the manifestos of these violent men. How not having access to women is the reason they say they did what they did. How entitled they are. And how this is a serious threat for women. If we don't give men attention, we can end up... How do you think he addresses this point? This hatred of women? He doesn't. He doesn't mention it one time. He says the reason he wanted to talk about this video is because of the loud cheer that Eliza gets. And that's the problem he has with the video. That's the problem you have with the video? And the entire video is about how incels are getting left behind and why we shouldn't do that. He starts the video by telling his viewers not to hate on Eliza, that she probably has a more nuanced take, but that she was probably just being, a little bit extra for the special. As if Eliza is the villain. You can check out that comment section if you want to see the type of men that listen to this guy. One of the comments was a guy saying, oh yeah, these women like natural selection. Well, what do they call miscarriages then? Do they like it then? Yeah. So he doesn't address any of the violence against women, doesn't want to talk about it. He uses it as an example, like all that was said in that bit, as an example of how incels are mistreated. Aside from his gross refusal, and I do mean gross, to acknowledge what incels do to women, he then completely misrepresents her point as well. He's basically saying that we are saying that incels should, that's what we mean by natural selection. No, nobody's saying they should. But they are saying if you hate women, then you're probably not going to get to breed with them. But multiple times, he says that we are leaving them behind and letting them. Because incels not being able to have is the same thing as us wanting them to. False equivalencies, anyone? While we're on the topic, he talks about natural selection, saying, yeah, well, when people have cystic fibrosis, that's natural selection. We don't leave them behind. I had a client who got drunk at a frat party and jumped off a balcony, and then he was a quadriplegic. Did we leave him behind? No. There's two more comparisons that I think are particularly egregious and very telling about him.
And then there are other versions of this as well. If we look at other people with addictions, so people who share needles and get HIV, that's a choice that they make. Should we let them die? Or people who are in abusive relationships and end up deciding, making the choice to date someone who is physically abusive to them. And if their life is threatened, they're making choices, right? These are their choices. Should we let them die? Should we leave them behind? Absolutely not. And this, I think, is the crux of the problem with incels that we see today, which is that there is one group of people who does not deserve help from the rest of humanity. That's the problem, right? When it comes to everyone else, if you make a dumb choice to date the wrong person and you get physically abused, we're on your side. We should step up as a society to help domestic violence victims. I completely agree.
Please tell me you heard that. At the end there, he's talking about domestic violence victims. And while, of course, it can be any gender, we know predominantly it is at the hands of men that people are being abused. He says incels make a choice to be an incel, but we don't support them when people who are in abusive relationships make the dumb choice to be with abusers. I'm sorry, what did you say? I fear your mask may have slipped there, my guy. Do you think victims of abusers are dumb? People trapped in the cycle of abuse are dumb to still be in it? Not a very good viewpoint for a psychiatrist. So we have a lot of empathy for incels, but we don't want to address any of the violence towards women that Eliza mentioned. And now you say that people who date abusive people are dumb. It's a dumb choice. Isn't the blame on the abuser? But that's not the only blame he shifts. Where Eliza says point blank in the manifestos that these men hated women and they said that's why they did it, he says, no, it's not. Stay tuned for the next part.